Hi everyone, welcome back to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith. In this video, we're going to learn the 1 to 6 player expansion to Viticulture, Tuscany by Stonemaier Games. If you haven't seen it already, we have a full instructional video for Viticulture, and I'll put a link to that in the description for this video. Tuscany offers what is sometimes referred to as a legacy-styled experience, and what that means is that within this one box there are several separate expansions. The way it works is you would play Viticulture, and then the winner of that game would get to choose which one of the 12 expansions they'd like to uncork or unlock from Tuscany, and then add in the next time that you play Viticulture. You might play a couple of games with just that one new element, and then decide, okay, the winner of our next game will get to unlock the next expansion from Tuscany that they choose. And so it would go until everything is unlocked. Now you might be wondering, couldn't we just unlock everything and play with it all at once? You could, but I would certainly not advise it. First of all, this would be a very overwhelming way to have to learn all of the rules for the different gameplay elements that come inside of this box. But perhaps more importantly, I think you'd miss out on fully being able to appreciate the new gameplay elements and nuance that they add to your plays of Viticulture. And you'd also miss out on that sense of discovery as you unlock one new item after another. Each of the separate expansions are sorted into their own spaces within the insert of the box, and each of those sections are clearly labeled. Each expansion is also divided into one of 3 different tiers or levels. So you first have to unlock all of the Tier 1 expansions before you can choose from the Tier 2 expansions, and so on. In this video, I'm going to teach you the 4 Tier 1 expansions, and I'll put a link to each one separately in the description of this video so you can go to the one you need when you need it. The Tier 2 and Tier 3 expansions will be in separate videos. There are also rules to play Viticulture solo included with Tuscany. I'll leave that for you to discover on your own. But for now, join me at the table and let's learn how to play. Your parents set up an inheritance for you to begin your venture into winemaking with the Mamas and Papas expansion. After randomly selecting the first player, shuffle the Mama and Papa cards separately, dealing one of each, face up, to all the players. Your Mama will indicate that you start with 2 regular workers and a certain number of cards drawn from the indicated decks. Be sure to draw these before gaining any benefits from your Papa. Your Papa provides you with a grande worker and usually some beginning lira, but then a choice between 2 different additional items. Players make this choice in clockwise order, starting with the first player. And these are just some of the Mamas and Papas. The expansion comes with 18 each. And there's also an advanced variant that lets each player draw 2 Mamas and Papas, and then pick one of each. Either way, this expansion provides each player with their own unique starting resources. The property expansion allows you to sell unused fields for an injection of cash. First, place the sell at least 1 grape or flip 1 property tile on the board covering the sell 1 or more grape tokens action space. Players now collect each of the 3 different types of property tiles, and these are distinguished by the lira values shown here of 5, 6, and 7. These are double-sided, but the sold side starts the game face down. And you place each of these properties in your fields, like so. Now, when planting fields, you place them on the tiles. And instead of the maximum vine values of 6 per tile, you can now plant fields up to the total vine value printed on the property of 5, 6, and 7. Now, when taking the new sell grapes or flip 1 property action, you have the option of selling a property as long as it has no vines on it. So in this situation, this field could not be sold, but these 2 properties could be. To sell a property, gain the lira shown on the bottom of the tile, and then flip it over. You may no longer plant vines on fields that you've sold, and visitor cards that refer to your fields only affect ones that you currently own. You can buy property back by using the flip 1 property action space and then paying the cost shown here to flip the tile back over. And now vines can be planted once again in this field. Please note the costs to buy back the value 5 and 7 lira are incorrect on the back of the tiles. So the value 5 field should cost 5 to buy back, not 7. And likewise, the value 7 field should cost 7 to buy back and not 5. In the Patronage Tier 1 expansion, you have the opportunity to catch the eyes of a wealthy patron who will reward you for accomplishing their goal. At the start of the game, shuffle and deal a patron to each player. If you're using the Mamas and Papas expansion, deal those out first. Only the player dealt a patron should see this side of the patron card. Here you will find a secret goal that you can work towards that will earn you victory points if you accomplish it by the end of the game. You can look at your patron's goal at any time. Your patron should be stored face down here under your vineyard with this area of the patron exposed. Now, instead of filling a wine order card when taking a fill wine order action, you may discard a 5 value wine or higher from your cellar to activate your patronage card. This immediately gains you 3 victory points. And then you place your patron card here. Now, if at the end of the game you have activated your patron and completed the task written on its face down side, you'll gain an additional 2 victory points, which is shown here. Keep in mind, if you have completed the task, but the patron has not been activated, you do not gain the 2 victory points. If a goal requires you to have the most of something, like this one here, you still satisfy the condition if you are tied for the most. The Tier 1 expansion, Advanced Visitors, adds more variety to the people visiting your vineyard. Although the Advanced Visitors have updated card frames compared to the original Visitors, their backs are identical. So to set up this expansion, simply shuffle the Advanced Winter with the regular Winter and the Advanced Summer with the regular Summer Visitors. It should be noted that any rules that apply to regular visitors apply to Advanced Visitors as well. But the Advanced Visitors do have some new icons and rules. Let's take a look. The Tuscany expansion provides us with some additional icons. For example, this symbol means that you can choose any type of wine token, white, red, blush, or sparkling. Likewise, this symbol represents either type of grape, red or white. Some visitors will give you a value 1 grape token for your crush pad. This is not a grape that comes from your vines. Instead, imagine it as having been collected from a market. This grape can be either white or red, but you do need to have a value 1 space available on your crush pad in order to collect it. As you can also see here, several of the Advanced Visitors will give you an option between 2 choices separated by the word or. When played, you choose one of the options to fulfill and ignore the other. If an Advanced Visitor lets you train a new worker, as in the original game, that worker is not available to you until the next year. If a visitor gives a bonus for building a specific cost structure, the structure must be exactly that cost to trigger the effect. If you see a card symbol but it's in gray, that means the players get to choose which type of card it represents. This arrow represents a one-way conversion. In other words, you could turn a victory point into 3 gold, but you could not trade in 3 gold to get a victory point. Finally, as an advanced variant, you can remove all original visitor cards except the following: entertainer, handyman, horticulturalist, peddler, vendor, promoter, mentor, innkeeper, harvest expert, and jack of all trades. And if you have the promos volunteer crew, wedding party, caravan, and guest speaker, you can include those as well. Disappointed that you don't have these special promo visitors? Well, guess what? You do. They're included with Tuscany, but they're in the Tier 3 expansion, Arboriculture. So feel free to remove just these promo visitors from that expansion and add them in at Tier 1 if you want. And those are all the Tier 1 expansions for Tuscany. Look for videos on Tier 2 and Tier 3. And if you have any questions at all about anything you saw here, don't hesitate to put them in the comments below and I'll gladly answer them as soon as I get a chance. But until the next episode, thanks for watching.